There are some roads you drive on that just feel wrong, not because of how they look, but because of how they watch you. This is a true story from about 2 years ago, and if you've ever fallen asleep alone in your car, miles from anyone, you might want to keep your eyes open tonight. It was late. I just left a family reunion and was heading home. A 2-hour drive, no big deal. I didn't stay the night like the rest of them. I had work early the next morning. Most of the drive was along back roads, the kind that don't feel like they've changed in decades. No gas stations, no street lights, just thick dark woods on either side, and the occasional flicker of something moving in your peripheral vision. I'd been driving for about 45 minutes when it hit me. A wave of exhaustion, sudden and heavy, like someone dropped a blanket over my brain. I knew I wouldn't last. I kept hoping for a rest stop, a diner, something, but there was nothing, so I made a decision I didn't love. I pulled over onto the grass shoulder, just behind a patch of thick bushes. I figured if I parked deep enough, no one would even see me. After all, a car passed by every few minutes, Not enough to feel safe, but just enough to make you paranoid. I turned off the engine, reclined my seat, and checked the time, 11:22 p.m. I told myself I'd just close my eyes for 50 minutes. That was a plan. Next thing I know, I'm awake. My eyes snap open. There's a sound. Scratch, scratch, scrrr, rape. I glance at the clock. 11:50 p.m. The sound stops. I sit up, blinking, listening, but all I hear now is silence. Too tired to care, I convince myself it was an animal, maybe a raccoon brushing past the bumper. I exhale, close my eyes, and fall back asleep, but sleep wouldn't be kind to me for long. It's 12:40 a.m. That sound again, but this time it doesn't stop. Scratch, scratch, scratch. It's deliberate, not the scuttling of an animal. It feels calculated. I sit up fast and check the mirror, and for just a split second I see it. A figure, tall and sprinting off the side of my car and into the woods. Gone before I can even register what I saw. My heart is racing now. My mouth is dry, and my first thought, it's the hook killer. You know, the urban legend. Scratches a car, waits until the guy gets out, then kills him while the girl listens from the passenger seat. I wasn't going to be in any version of that story. I started the car and I drove. About 100 yards ahead, there was a bend in the road, and just around it, another car pulled off to the side, driver's door wide open. I slowed instinctively, scanning the front seat, empty. I don't know why, but I felt drawn to look, like my brain couldn't accept the randomness of it. An empty car just sitting there in the middle of nowhere. Then I checked my rear view mirror, nothing, and then, boom, he explodes into view. He sprints around the bend, full speed, tall, fast, and furious. Hey, you, get the effic out of your car, now! His face was contorted in rage, his hands clenched. He wasn't asking for help, he was giving an order. There was something off about him, something wrong. I didn't wait to figure it out. I floored the gas, and the car lurched forward, tires screeching on gravel. I didn't look back. I don't know if he chased me. I don't know if he had a weapon. I don't even know if he was alone. I just drove for miles. Eventually, I found a gas station with lights on. I pulled in, locked the doors, and sat there, staring out at the road, eyes wide, heart racing. I never saw him again, never heard a report, no news coverage, no missing persons, just a story that still haunts me every time I close my eyes on a long drive. So yeah, moral of the story, don't sleep on the side of a deserted road, because sometimes something out there is waiting for you to close your eye. It was a few years ago. I was out for a walk, not the kind of walk where you follow a marked trail and pass joggers and dogs. I like the quieter places, off the beaten path, the kind of woods where the trees grow closer together, where the sun barely breaks through the branches. I don't remember exactly why I went out that day. Maybe I just needed some air. I was a little stressed, work stuff, the usual. So I wandered a bit deeper than I normally would. No GPS, no signal, just me and the woods. And then I smelled it, not something you could ignore. It was sweet, sickly sweet, like rotting fruit left too long in the heat, but stronger, heavier. I thought maybe it was a dead animal. That happens. But this was different. The smell wasn't just in my nose. It felt like it coated my throat. And I was stupidly curious. I followed it. There was a dense patch of undergrowth, brambles, vines, old fallen branches. I pushed it aside, and there he was, a man, or what had once been a man. He was slumped back against the base of a tree. His clothes were soaked with dark, dried fluids. His skin was greenish-black, puffed up, cracked in places. There were insects everywhere. Parts of him looked soft, melting. I gagged, could barely stand. The worst part wasn't what I saw, it was how quiet it got. The forest, it went silent. No birds, no wind, just me, him, and the buzzing. I stumbled back, nearly threw up, and somehow managed to call the police. No signal at first. I had to walk a bit to get one bar, then ran back to where he was. The dispatcher told me to stay with the body. Don't move, stay close so they can find you. So I did. It took hours. They were trying to trace my location, but I'd gone so far off the path it wasn't easy, and by the time they were anywhere near, the sun had dipped below the trees. It got cold, dark, fast. I sat maybe 10 feet away from him, trying not to look, but unable to stop myself. At one point, I swear I saw him move, a twitch. His shoulder shifted slightly. I told myself it was bugs or gas escaping. Bodies do that, but my brain wouldn't shut up. And the smell got worse as the temperature dropped. Like the cold made it stronger somehow, thicker. It felt alive. Then I started to hear things, whispers, not words, just a dry, rustling sound behind me. I'd turn around, nothing. At one point I thought I heard breathing, but it wasn't mine. Eventually, the police arrived. Flashlights, radios, the whole deal. They were calm, professional. One of them looked at the body and just muttered, "Damn." They asked me a few questions, took my information, and led me out of the woods. Later, I learned the man had taken his own life. They found a bottle of pills nearby and a half-written note soaked through and unreadable. He'd been reported missing a couple weeks earlier. No family came to claim him. No one knew why he chose that spot. Why he just disappeared there, but I couldn't stop thinking about it, about him, about the way he was just hidden under the undergrowth like he'd wanted to be forgotten. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw him, but not like before, not still. In my dreams, he moved. He looked at me, his swollen face twisted, blackened lips parting to speak. He said things I don't want to repeat, but the gist was clear. I was finally alone. You ruined it. You dragged me back into the world. You should have left me there. I woke up drenched in sweat. That became my reality for the next few weeks. Dreams that got worse each night. Sometimes I'd wake up to the smell, that same sweet, rotting scent lingering in my room for just a second. Once I found dirt on the floor near my bed, no windows open, no tracks, just a faint trail from the closet to my pillow. I tried therapy. They said it was trauma, a reaction to the shock mixed with guilt. But guilt for what? For finding him, for not leaving him there. Eventually the dreams lessen. Now they only come once every few months. Always the same message. He never yells, never screams, just talks. And his voice, it sounds like it's coming from underneath something, like he's still buried there. Waiting. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't pulled back the vines, if I just walked past. Would someone else have found him? Would he still be dreaming without me? I don't know if what I experienced was real. Maybe it was just my imagination. But I do know one thing. Sometimes the dead don't want to be found. And if you do find them, you might not walk away alone. Sleep well tonight. He might be waiting. Not every nightmare starts in the woods. Sometimes it happens under the dull glow of a streetlight on an empty sidewalk in a city you thought you knew. This happened a few summers ago. It started as just a late night bike ride, but it ended with a man standing on my front porch like he had always belonged there. It was around midnight. A friend and I had been out biking together, just cruising around the city to kill time, enjoy the warm night. We split up near the end of the ride. No big deal. I only had 2 blocks to go before I was home. There was construction on my usual route, so I had to take the sidewalk. The streets were dead quiet, not a car in sight, just that strange kind of silence where everything feels too still. And then I saw him. He was walking up ahead, maybe 40s, kind of scruffy, but not homeless. You know the type. Jeans a little dirty, hair a bit unkempt, but not someone you'd immediately clock as dangerous. The sidewalk was narrow. I didn't want to scare him, so I did what I thought was the polite thing. When I was about 6 feet behind, I called out, "Hey, behind you." He stopped, turned around, and just stared at me, his face twisted into this pure rage. No words, just this furious, disgusted glare like I'd just insulted his entire bloodline. I didn't say anything else. I just turned onto my street. That was my mistake because he followed me. I could hear him behind me. His pace picked up, then he started screaming, "You fucking cunt, I'm gonna kill you. You think you're smart, I'll find you." I didn't look back. I just kept pedaling harder, faster, but my heart was hammering harder than my legs were pumping. I live just off the corner of that street, but I didn't want him to see exactly where. The last thing I needed was him knowing which house was mine. So I did a loop around the block. Just 1 more minute, I thought. Just circle back, check if he's gone. But when I came back, that's when the real horror began. I was coming up the opposite side of the street and I slowed my bike, looked toward my house, and he was there, standing on my front stoop, not moving, not pacing, just standing still, like he was waiting, facing the street, staring straight ahead, like he knew. He didn't yell, didn't chase me, didn't even flinch when I rode by again. He just stood there like a fixture, like some living statue with violence behind its eyes. I didn't stop. I didn't go home. I didn't even hesitate. I biked right past him, heart in my throat, and rode straight back to my friend's place. I didn't care that it was late. I just knew one thing. I wasn't sleeping anywhere near that man. I texted my mom, told her what happened. She wanted to call the police, but I told her not to. He hadn't technically done anything. And in this city, that's not enough. We agreed to wait and just be careful, but the story didn't end there. 2 days later, I went to get my bike. I kept it locked in the alley behind the house. It was gone, no broken lock, no mess, just gone. Someone had taken it silently, cleanly, and yeah, it could have been random, but you know what still keeps me up? The look on his face when I passed him, the way he didn't shout that second time, the way he just stood there, watching, like he knew, like he'd already picked his time. He didn't look homeless, didn't look crazy. He looked like someone you'd pass every day and forget immediately. And maybe that's what makes it worse. You never know who's watching you or how long they've been doing it. All I know is I was lucky because that night I rode away. But someone like him, they don't just go away. Have you ever been followed or felt like someone knew too much about you without ever saying a word? Let me know in the comments. And remember, never assume you're alone, even when the streets are empty. And if stories like this keep you looking over your shoulder, don't forget to subscribe for more true horror stories just like this one. You never know what might show up next. Stay safe out there and sleep with one eye open.